Great, thank you. I'll try to be really quick so you can get up here as well. So my name is Will Janensch. I'm one of the co-founders of TruSet. We are a consensus spoke. And what TruSet is doing is it's using a blockchain to create a community that will crowdsource the collection, error correction, validation and distribution of financial reference data. And what I mean by financial reference data is financial instrument reference data, is all of the descriptive fields and terms and conditions for financial security that's crucial for running the sort of boring parts of financial services, the middle and back office, automated functions around portfolios. So if you have a portfolio that has 10,000 bonds in it, you need all of that reference data about those bonds so you can do functions like risk management, portfolio accounting, reporting, and have obviously have those come up with the right answer and not blow up. And the problem is that data originates as prospectuses. Well, bank issues a security, they publish a prospectus in the US to the SEC. That's a long legal document in a PDF. Obviously, it's unstructured data. Within that, that contains all of the information you need to fill out what could be up to a 700 or 800 field data record. If you need that information, you currently buy it from data vendors. Unfortunately, in that process of getting it from a prospectus into a data model, some errors creep into it. And so every customer of that data today independently has a team and a bunch of software systems that are looking at that data and trying to find the errors and correcting it so that each then entity has their own golden copy, which might also look a little different than the golden copy of the guy down the street. So our idea is to use the consensus process of a blockchain to have the community do that collectively, do it once, come up with one right answer that they all agree with, and that also means that any individual firm doesn't have to do all the work themselves. They can share that across the community. So the way we see this peer-to-peer network working is there are 4 types of nodes, 3 real sort of customer nodes, and then the 4th is, at least for right now, us as an admin node. But there's basically 3 different types of activities you would do in the network. You could be a publisher, so that would be the people who, or the firms that are getting data and publishing it into the network. So that could be the sell side of a bank that's issuing a security, publishing a prospectus, and then also publishing it into the TruSet network. Or it could be some shop with a great machine learning, natural language processing engine that's going and finding these prospectuses and scraping those and getting those into our data model as well. Then you've got a group of validators. So that is customers of this data that have sophisticated validation techniques where they can look at that data record, run some analytics against it, and come to a determination they think that information is correct or not. Those are the nodes, not really nodes, but the entities that are reaching consensus in this system. And then you've got a set of consumers. These could be pure consumers that have decided, you know what, we don't want to be in a business of correcting data anymore. We just want to get the accurate data, and we trust the validators to do a good job. And so they are just read-only participants. At least at the beginning, TruSet will be the admin node, so that will be for customer onboarding, KYC. Over time, we see a lot of those admin and governance functions being able to be pushed out into the decentralized community and have that be managed by the community itself. So I'm going to also attempt a live demo of this. So each of the browser windows are representative of different Ethereum addresses. So not nodes, but nodes in quotation marks. So the first one you see up there is us. It's the TruSet node. It's the admin node. And so among his things he can do is he can see all the nodes that are in the network. He can add a new node. He can permission them with the different entitlements to be a publisher, to be a validator, or to just be a consumer. So the workflow typically starts with a publisher. So in this case, this is a sell-side bank. It's their fixed income underwriting desk. They are issuing a new bond. They're issuing a bond for Verizon, one of their customers. And as part of their process now to issue that, they're also going to publish their record into here. So he's going to add a new instrument. That is a Verizon, we'll call it a test bond. And we're going to mine this. And this is currently sitting on the Rinkeby testnet for the public Ethereum network. We do envision moving this into a permission version of Ethereum like Quorum. Some of the advantages will be an improvement in mining time. So right now we're waiting for this transaction to be mined. The first thing he's done is he's created essentially an empty shell around this Verizon bond. that doesn't have any information in it. And that's because over the life cycle of that instrument, you could get updates to it or additional information that you want to add to that record, and we want to provide full audit capability back over time. So you will see both the current version of the bond, but if you wanted to see what it looked like 6 months ago, you can go back and capture that as well. So he's going to add a new description, and this is a simplified version of the 700 field data model that I described earlier. And he can manually type this in, but in practice, we really see this being fed via API from existing banker software systems or even Excel. To approximate that, I'm going to drag a JSON file that we pre-filled out with the Verizon information. Oops. There we go. I always have trouble getting this in. Ay. Come here. All right, you get the idea. Verizon. So we're going to publish that proposal. Usually there'd be more information in it for the basic record. You're going to publish that proposal. This again is getting mined to the blockchain. And what happens once this gets published out there, each of the nodes that are entitled to be validators will get an alert that tells them there's a new activity for them to do, which in this case would be to validate a new proposed record. So as this is coming through, you can start seeing little flags appear up in the corner. Here we've got a validator. This is a custodian bank. He goes and checks out his alert. He sees he's got a new proposal that's been published into the network. It's not a validated record yet, but he can view it. You can see there's not much information there, but here's our Verizon bond that was proposed into the network, and he thinks that looks right. He's going to vote yes. Now we've got a couple of other validators here. Here you've got a fintech firm who's got a great analytics capability to run validation. He's going to see his alert. He's going to take a look at it. He agrees that that looks correct. He'll also vote yes. And finally, we've got a third validator. This is a fund administrator. He takes a look at that record, and he thinks he sees something wrong with it. So he's going to vote no. So you will be able to set it so that there will be a timeout. You could say maybe you've got 4 hours to validate this record, and then at that point the voting closes. And right now it's a manual process that is left with the admin node that he can go in once all the votes have been tallied, and he can close the voting on that. So I'm just going to wait for that to finish mining. He goes in to his voting system, and he will see a list of all the things that are actively being voted on. So here's our Verizon test bond. He takes a look at that. He's going to go ahead and close voting. And so now behind the scenes, the number of votes have been calculated. And so right now it's set up to just be a simple majority rule. So more than 50% yes, it'll be accepted. More than 50% no, it'll be rejected. That's something we're going to play with over time to make sure that the end result achieves the accuracy that we need, which is ideally necessarily better than what obviously people can buy in the market today. So once this has been finished mining, it'll automatically update the record to tell us whether this has been accepted or rejected. The publisher gets to see that. He can see that currently it says voting active, but when that refreshes, it will be updated to show that this has been accepted. And then if you are a consumer node or any of the nodes that are looking to then get this data, so now that says accepted under state, the consumer node, so here's an asset manager who needs this information to run their portfolio processing, they get an alert, and that alert tells them that there's a new instrument that's been updated. And they can take a look at it either from the alert or from their list of golden records. And in practice, they probably wouldn't be looking at this with human eyes. What they'd be doing is they'd be submitting a list of all the instruments they need that are in our system. They'd be extracting the current validated version of that record so that they can then plug it into their automated processes and run all those middle and back office processes that they need. So that's our demo. I think I got through it quickly enough. We are early days, but we are taking this demo out and showing it to financial institutions and other potential customers. So we are definitely looking for beta participants for getting a beta up in the next few months, where we actually be running real data through the system and really validating it and starting to build out that core data set. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. We have time for a few questions.
So, I never really worked in the middle of back office, but so, how are they currently aggregating the data? Are they using Bloomberg as their aggregator to access these data for their day-to-day operations, or they just go straight to the source?
No, so the consumers of this data today are buying it from vendors, and those vendors include Bloomberg. And oftentimes they're dual or multiple sourcing it as well, and then they might have an aggregation system and an enterprise data management system that they're using to integrate multiple feeds. So we see this as potentially sitting side by side with another field as being an uncorrelated secondary or primary source of data that they can use to ensure that the data they're consuming is correct. Oftentimes in these systems, customers feel like in some cases Bloomberg is the best, sometimes another source is the best, and they actually want to pick and choose which field they get from which vendor.
I got a follow up. So is this going to be automated, like from the underwriter kind of perspective, going forward, instead of them having to type in the information before the validation?
We're dragging JSON file. Yeah. So yes. So if we're getting it from the underwriter, they use some system today to structure the bond on behalf of their clients before they issue it. And so they will have in a structured format the core information about what the bond is and how it behaves. And we do want to suck it out of that system and have it published directly. That would be the most direct route. If we don't get it from them, or if they decide not to publish it into our network, we can also get it off of the prospectuses that they're required to publish and are freely available to everyone.
Okay.
But we would need to do the same thing the vendors do today, which is take it out of that unstructured prospectus and get it into our data model.
Got it. Cool. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. We're going to move on.